Hi Joji, how you doing? We're just getting ready. We're trying to log into the server. The controller's having problems. So welcome to the party. You're the first one here, Joji. Welcome. We're just trying to log in. Nothing really special at the moment. Just eating some grits with some peanut butter and maple syrup. Sugar-free maple syrup. But I hope you're doing okay, Joji. I just having a chill morning, chill Saturday. I got stuff to do later, but right now we're just trying to play the game a little bit. We'll be back later tonight too. So once we get in the game, maybe we'll be online for like an hour and a half or so. Maybe 2 hours. But we gotta get into the game. It's because I grew up with the game, Joji. And look at your I think it's because people who play Final Fantasy XI are a very special breed of people. We grew up in high school. We're alternate reality World of Warcraft players. So am I Transmaranth? Or am I'm not Transman Gold. Or Transwoman Gold. Transfem Gold. Yeah, I'm Transfem Gold. No, I'm not Transfem Gold. I don't play World of Warcraft. I play Final Fantasy XI instead. So basically, if I had played World of Warcraft, I would have been Asmongold. And if Asmongold played Final Fantasy XI, she'd be Rebecca Lauren. Wait, translinity? So that's me. Like, if you replace me, I can be the top of every single type of person. Transkiff? You just add trans to the word somehow, and it makes it, and I can dominate that area. #1 content creator of that category, of type of archetype of person. If that makes any sense, right? I can pull the strengths from these people rather than the negative parts. And of course, instead of Trainwreck TV, it's Transwreck TV. Let me keep it $1.50, you guys. Final Fantasy 11 is a super grind that I don't think anybody who's never played it before can really handle, especially these days, the Fortnite kiddos. Games like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 11 are pretty much only for nostalgia boners. Like it's like looking at the game through rose-colored glasses. It's actually pretty enjoyable if you're that person. If you're not a person who played Final Fantasy 11 when you were in high school, you're most likely not the kind of person who will enjoy Final Fantasy 11. But that being said, if you played Final Fantasy 14 for like a bajillion years and you kind of want to try a different kind of MMO, come over to HorizonXI if you can log in. But there's like over 4,500 players. And they're all willing to help you because we're all veterans of the game. In fact, I've been through multiple servers. I'm in Wings, I'm in Nozomi. Got level 75s on Nozomi. I played original run through on original level 75. I had like Black Mage, Summoner, Paladin, Red Mage, and Dragoon all at level 75, and I think Thief was even on the way. So basically, I think Final Fantasy 11, what makes it different than 14 is that Final Fantasy 14 is more active, almost single-player style game. Almost. At least most of the early game. Like the main storyline, etc. You can do most solo, I think. I'm pretty sure. But if you're the kind of person who's played Final Fantasy 14 for a long time, Final Fantasy 11 is more of a laid-back chat room style game. It's like a chat room. It's like virtual. It's like VR chat. Think of it as VR chat or Minecraft. Whereas Final Fantasy 14 is like Overwatch or League of Legends, which are like very very dedicated, active activities. Like it's more fast-paced. And it's more focused events. Like you do like a short battle that's really difficult, or at least requires focus. Which that is true in Final Fantasy 11. However, in about a year from now, they should be adding a really strong boss called Pandemonium Warden, which some people, when the original release, took 36 hours to defeat. From beginning health to end health to death. 36 hours of real life gameplay. So people had to take shifts. They have people, like what you can do is you can have a link shell and you basically keep backup people in the zone in case people disconnect. So you have community members who are like second bench, third bench, fourth bench. No, this is a custom server. So retail, of course, is adding things on Final Fantasy 11, and retail went a completely different direction. They're up to level 99, and it's a very enjoyable game. I'm not going to say it's terrible. Some people will. Like Ninja hates it. Oh no, I don't know if Ninja hates it, but I do know Nosomi hates it. And Nosomi started his own server because he wanted a classic server, and we all know Square Enix is never going to make a classic server. And if they do, all these classic servers are immediately shutting down, and everybody who's involved is like loyal enough to Square Enix that they would just move over to the new one. Because that's how the Final Fantasy 11 community is. Pretty much everyone, I mean, obviously if they're decent people. Like Nosomi himself has said, like if Final Fantasy 11, or even Ninja too, like he would give like his personal money he would invest into Square Enix to be able to make a actual classic level 75 retail server that's actively maintained, that potentially even has new content for level 75 style, like go in the different direction, like in the same direction it was already going, rather than go the different direction. And that would be cool to see what Square Enix's vision on level 75 style would be. The Japanese style. And there'd be more Japanese players, and you'd have to rely on auto-translate a lot more. Which is a huge part of the original game, by the way. Like, that you were playing internationally. It wasn't all just people from California or from the same region. Like there was like thousands and thousands of people on the server from all over the world, and auto-translate eventually even branched out to different languages like German and stuff like that, so that people could play together with auto-translate, because really you could play the whole game without talking, and if you do need to talk you can use auto-translate and it just automatically translates to the person's language, but it's more limited speech. Oh yeah, go ahead. Play Final Fantasy 14. I mean, I'm a rare type of person who played Final Fantasy 11 right when it came out instead of playing World of Warcraft. In fact, the only content creator I know of who plays Final Fantasy 11 is Ninja, and he's the one who led me to Wings when that server was brand new, and he was like trying to help that grow, like earlier in the year. It's died down since. It's still alive. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people there who are dedicated, so it's always there when I'm ready. In fact, we could play that today if we don't want to play Horizon and go through the login game. I'm not on a strict time limit, but I am, like I said, I am trying to adhere to the fact that like it's 12:36 right now. I want to go to I want to end my stream by 3 p.m. So if I can end my stream by by or before 3 p.m. I think we'll be good. But we got plenty of time till then. We got like 2.5 hours. Okay, so like chill out. We got plenty of time, and it's just a game, so don't worry about login issues. It really sucks. Hopefully, I mean, it is like, it only launched like a few weeks ago. You got to keep that in mind. The server only launched a few weeks ago, and so they're gonna have internet issues, technical issues. Play Final Fantasy 14. Unlock the casino. Yeah, if I get okay, so that's the only reason I would ever play Final Fantasy 14. Is if I got like enough followers on kick.com who wanted to see gambling, and I just log into Final Fantasy 14 whenever those people want to watch it. If I ever have like a number of viewers who are like kind of like not sure like who have differing opinions on what we should do on stream, that's usually when I pull up a straw poll. It almost never happens because I almost never have more than 10 people in chat. Yeah, it's not real money, but it is a gambling kind of theme thing, and I think that fits this website. Like I said, I like to, that's how I like to do things. I like to have fun with things. I like to match things so that they're like connected. I like to connect things together, like pieces in a puzzle, or like, you remember those Connects, those toys? I don't know if you're a 90s kid. If you're a 90s kid, you probably know of Connects. And the controller's not working as it's supposed to. I have to change the settings. So now that we finally get in, we can't actually play because I have to change the controller settings. So now that the controller set, and now we have to try to log in yet again. So after all that time, we finally almost get in. And now I still have to change the controller. Because the controller is like not working right. Enable X input, maybe that. But it's all messed up, so I need to calibrate it. Press A. Okay, here we go. I think this is gonna work now. I needed to set it as XI input, X input. Well, it is Final Fantasy XI, right? Final Fantasy X input. No. Hopefully there's no problem. Okay, the good looks like there's no problem so far. Okay, select and confirm. Yeah, it was all fucked up. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Oh, it's selected, not working. Oh, because of that. That explains some things. Okay. Okay, that should work. But now we have to log in again. Oh no, now we have to do this again. Now we have to go through login hell again. Hopefully it'll be soon. Oh look, we're connected. Yeah, play with controller if you like it. I would give it a try at least. Maybe for like a few days. You have to get used to it. So I would give it like maybe a few days or a week of using the controller if you really want to try it. Spend on a fake casino. Yeah, as long as people know it's fake, and as long as they know that like if you gamble in real life, you will lose. Like it's not like don't go gamble. It's like it's a mental health. Like it's an addiction. It can destroy lives. But you know, like you will lose money. So don't gamble. Don't ever gamble money that you're not willing to lose in the first place. Don't use it as some kind of profit tool. It's not a scheme. Schemes don't work. That's not how life works. You just have to grind, and just play the right moves. It's like a chess game. It's not like a dice game. Okay? Stop treating life like a dice game. Only use dice on the things that you can't, that are inevitably dice, right? Some things are just dice. Like, that's just how the world works. You can't control everything. Like, you know, those things obviously you can't change. But, like, don't treat the rest of the life like that. I wouldn't want to live life like that. Finally, the controller's working! Fucking finally, we're gonna get in. I'm probably gonna get cam on soon, but I'm not really in a hurry to get the camera on. I gotta do stuff later, so I'm trying to conserve my energy. So we're just playing some Final Fantasy 11, which is pretty much the same as sleeping, if I'm gonna be real. At least for me at this point in my life. Even when I first played through, I got to the point where I could play with my eyes closed on Red Mage. Hey, what's up, Lucas? How you doing? All right, looks like we're getting in. Oh, you got the game? Nice. No, this is HorizonXI. That'll tell you how to play. If you go to that website, you can learn how to play yourself. Oh, okay, at least that one works. But I don't have the right button working. Oh wow. Oh, you got it on Steam? Nice. Yeah, Retail Final Fantasy 11 is actually hella fun. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Oh, but my right button. I want my right button to be that. Oh, what I need to do is I think I need to turn off the... Let's clear this. No. No. Oh, for some reason... Oh, Anti-Micro is not working with it. That just sucks. That's why. I'll have to fix that later, because if I have to fix that, I have to restart the game, and I don't want to go through login again, so we're just going to stay logged in for now, and I'm just going to use the middle button, which is... Oh, fuck. Oh, I see what's going on. I had the wrong button set. It's supposed to be this button. Okay, here we go. Save that. Okay, here. There, right button. I have right button again. Nice, I fixed it without having to restart. A wasp sting. I stung it with its own weapon. Yeah, Lucas, I'm glad that I influenced you, and I'm a streamer, right? I mean, that's why I'm streaming. I'm trying to get people to get into the game. You know, I'm glad to have another player give it a try. If you want, you can send me a tell. Just do /tell Roki, R-O-K-I, like this. /tell Roki. Yo. And see, I got the message twice, obviously, because I sent it to myself. But if you ever want to say hi to me in game, just say yo. And yo. I'll say yo back. Yeah, anytime, Lucas. I'm glad that you're here. I hope you're having a great day, and you're enjoying the game. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'll do my best to show you on stream if I can. I could even show you on Wikipedia. If you ever have a question, come into my stream. Just ask me whatever you want to ask about the game, or anything really, and I'll do my best to give you an answer, okay? So, I know a lot about Retail Final Fantasy 11, not everything. I also know about classic servers. Classic Final Fantasy 11 is my forte, so obviously anything related to Classic Final Fantasy 11 is going to be easier for me to answer. But I can also answer you retail questions. There might be someone better who could answer retail questions, but what I can offer you is I'm going to do the best I can. Every single question you have for me, regardless of who you are, unless you're like, you know, banned from the chat, then obviously I won't see your messages. Oh. If I see your message, I'll do my best to read it. And you know what's funny is like even someone like Asmongold does that. Like, you know, I heard it the first time. I think he's telling the truth. I think he really does like read his whole chat. Or he also has moderators and other fans who like will repeat what other people say if it's like important, right? I mean that he has like kind of backup systems. People like me don't particularly have that. I've had full screen, no gameplay streams for like an hour at a time before someone came in and said, "Hey, you're not showing gameplay, by the way." And I went a whole hour just full cam, me playing a game and saying like, "Oh God, did you see that shit?" And like, there's nothing there to see on the stream. Like, it's so embarrassing, right? Yeah, trust me, over the next couple of years that you're playing the game, you're gonna have plenty of questions for me about the game. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. You're gonna have so many questions. And I'm going to do, and I know a lot. I played originally from 2004 to 2009. That was my first run through of the game. So I played for about 5 years. Or 6 years or so. And then I played on Nozomi from 2016 to 2021 or so. The end of 2016 to 2021. And I think that's when I quit for a while because I already got 75 Beastmaster and Bard and Ranger. And I was endgame Bard. I was pretty good at it, but I was like, oof. Huh? Ah! I'm gonna die. How do I use a controller? You have to set it up. There are ways to Google it. The problem with this is because it's such an older game. It's from like 2002 or 2001 even in Japan. I think it's like 2002 is when they released it on PC in Japan, and then also they did the PC release. They did Final Fantasy 11 plus Zealart. When the Zealart expansion came out, they released it on PC in the North America. So it's from like 2002 or so, maybe 2003 or 4. I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was like 2003. I don't really know. Okay, well, I think I needed to eat a new jack-o'-lantern anyway, but I'm just gonna go right back out there because we have a lot of traveling to do. Well, first of all, let's check to see if Outpost Warps are back. You never know if the server got it. Damn it. We gotta clear those things as a server. I mean, that's a lot of time investment. That shows me a lot about a person. That they're willing to put in the time and effort to get equipped to level 37. They not necessarily have to be like equipped with like the best gear, but if they get to level 37 at all, it means they probably have some half decent gear, just from leveling. So I need to go to the Oristary, I guess. Look it up. Policy 11. Windurst missions. Let's do the guides on BG Wiki. Okay, I think these are nicer organized. Let's go here. Mission. Oristary and Port Windurst. Yeah, okay, so Orsteri. Where is it? Oh, so it's right over here. It starts you out right there. That's exactly where you need to start out. It's right where you start. I have to use a PS2 controller. I use a PS4 controller. It has to be a full, like, style controller, like a PS4 style controller, or PS3, or like a generic gamepad that's like in the style of like a PS2 controller or PS4 controller, or an Xbox controller, like Xbox 360 style controller, or Xbox whatever. Xbox Live, Xbox... I mean, what's the newest one? Xbox 10? Or... I think it's someone on the roof, actually. Or maybe it's someone over here. Who was it? Hakuru Rinkuru. It's this Tartaru. What are you doing? Magic spells. Uh-oh. Oh, people practice magic here. Experiment in the Horotota ruins, have you? You have PS5? Holy shit. Yeah, and I don't know how to get that controller to work for the game, so good luck. You might have to Google on YouTube how to do that. Like, you know, PS5 controller, Final Fantasy 11. Like, Google that. Or Final Fantasy 11 PS5 controller. And there's got to be people who've talked about that on the internet somewhere, like on Reddit, or some kind of Stack Exchange or other forums. Okay, oh no, am I hardware locked? No. No, I just have to go this way. Okay, and then I can go there. Okay, so I have to go to the entrance. That's where I was going. I have to go exactly where I was going, but now I'm actually doing the mission. Instead, I didn't have the mission before. I didn't talk to the NPC that I needed to. Yeah, so I mean, good luck with that. I'm sorry I can't help with that. I'm just busy playing the game and streaming and doing my life. I'm sorry. You like Google? It has the answer to almost everything? Yeah, sure. I mean, you gotta be... I mean, it's kind of frustrating sometimes depending on what you're trying to look for. You kind of have to be a little bit more, like, kind of, you know, investigative. Like, you might have to go into servers that are even, like, maybe even on page 2. Some people say, oh, if it's on page 2, it's not worth it. It's like, well, in some cases, you might need to go to, like, deeper search... Like, maybe at least down the page, you know, like... Everyone says, like, oh, if it's the top, that's probably the best. It's like, that's a really, like, bot way of looking at things. Like, are you, like, a computer? Like, you gotta look at, like, a human. Like, I remember, like, I mean, I understand, like, it's a good bet. It's a good bet to, like, look at the one with the most views. Because I remember in band, when I was in college, when I was in symphonic band, my director, he said that, like... You know, if you want to listen to a college performance or whatever of this song, just watch the one with the highest views, and that's what he said. But, like, I'm like, well, that doesn't always 100% of the time necessarily mean it's true. Sometimes the more viewed one could just be view-botted or something. You know, like, you never know, right? Like, what if the one with less views is from, like, a more reputable or more talented, more skilled musician? For example, like, what if it's a professional performance that's, you know, like what if you can use that one so you can listen to it and, you know, and what you want to do is you want to get inside your ear and you actually, like, you want to play along with the music, actually. Like, you want to have it in your ear, like in your headphones, like hopefully earmuff style headphones. Or, like, very large speakers, or actually, preferably with the musicians themselves. Like, ideally, you want to play in the same room as other musicians. That's the #1 best thing you can possibly do to improve as a musician. Play music with other musicians, because what happens is if you play correctly and in tune, it's like a virus. Like, it spreads throughout the other musicians. Everybody starts resonating with each other. It kind of becomes like harmony, right? That's what we mean with harmony. Like, when the resonance in the air starts to like connect with each other in a very synergetic way, and like it sits together in a very pleasant way to your ears, to the human ear. We don't know about like other species, you know, it might be driving them insane. Like constantly all day, dogs are just listening to humans make noise after noise after noise. Like high-pitched noises that only dogs can hear. And they smell everything, and especially our ass. But they're a different species than us. They don't think of it the same way as we do. I don't think. So we're not going into Winders, because that's the entrance to Winders there. We're going into East Sartabarta, and we're crossing across the river. Or through the river. Do I like dogs? Dogs are pleasant, but I don't like having dogs in my home. I like dogs when they're outdoors and they're other people's dogs that take care of them. Because other people, they love their dogs, and they treat their dogs with so much love and care. They basically put their dogs in heaven. I would rather those people take care of the dogs than me, because I'm struggling just to take care of myself, and then forget about having an actual human child. And good riddance. I can no longer have children. Hooray! It's actually pretty good. It took me a long time to decide on that one. I mean, like I know that was the only doubt I had, but I never wanted children to begin with. But that was the final nail in the coffin when I knew for certain that I'm getting the surgery. I'm like committing to the fact that I'm no longer going to be able to have children, and I committed from way before day one, like before day one of hormones. I was like on hormones, and you know, you get informed consent, right? And I need to make formal videos about this. I actually want to make TikToks and and YouTube videos talking about what to expect from day one and even before day one of hormones as a trans woman, from male to female, especially for people around my age. But like, this could apply to anyone starting estradiol treatment. I'm going to specifically, obviously, I take estradiol in like a pill form that I take sublingually twice a day. But your doctor will be in charge of, you and your doctor are going to decide how best to administer your estrogen treatment. See, it's like, I'm going to be saying like that, but like a doctor can say it better. That's the thing. I'm going to talk about the stuff that a doctor won't tell you. Or I mean, if a doctor won't tell you, not every doctor will communicate this to a patient. Unfortunately, not everybody has doctors in certain parts of the world. There's doctors who, they don't really... Unfortunately, transgender medicine is not perfect in every single state in the country. In certain states, you will get very qualified doctors and nurses who have worked with transgender patients for many, many years, like decades, and stuff like that. So you're in good hands. But if you don't have that kind of community, if you don't have that kind of doctor, you're gonna have to educate yourself, unfortunately, and that's really fucked up. And I think that is gradually changing with transgender medicine, but you're gonna have to ask a doctor about the current state of affairs with that, or you're gonna have to consult some kind of paywalled academic journal about transgender medicine that even I don't read. Every now and then my controller goes out. It sucks. I still need a better controller. My brother's giving me a PS4 because he got a PS5. So he's gonna give me a controller so I can just use a new controller when it gets here. For now, I have to worry with the controller that every now and then it just goes out and I have to adjust the cable. Would I choose just a child if I could go back in time? If I could go back in time, I don't know about that, because whatever happened is what happened because of the environment. If the environment was the way it is now, then 100%, 100 million %. But the thing is, I think I would have done better if I had a supportive environment back then. But even if I didn't, if I forced my way into it and got on hormone blockers and then got on estrogen, I still think 1,000,000% I would do better than I did. And I think my life would have turned out very, very, very differently, mostly positively. But we're never going to be able to do that. That's a magical situation that will never exist. I cannot go back in time and change things. But if I was a younger child and I knew about my gender dysphoria from a younger age, because I knew about like what it was, what to look out for, because most people are like, hell nah, right? Like most people are like, transgender, fuck that. Like most people are, Like, most people are not transgender. Do you understand that? That's a reality of the world we live in. And for most people, they know without beyond the shadow of a doubt whether they're transgender or not. And once you know, you know. There's no going back. And maybe there's some more nuance to it than that. And of course, that's what being transgender is. It's a giant umbrella. And there's so many millions of people who exist who are transgender. And they're all different people with different lives and different things they do and different values. Unfortunately, some are even Republican. And Republicans are just, if you look at the actual things they've done that are publicly documented, they have historically done extreme damage to the transgender community, and that sounds extremely unfair to an entire demographic of people, which consists of, despite being like about 1%, maybe more, of the population, it's still like got to be like millions of, like at least hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people. Even if it was one person, that's already GG. Like, you got to help that person. We're in America, right? We're supposed to be the leader of the world, and if we're leader of the world, then how come people are dying of like lack of insulin because they can't afford insulin, because insulin costs like $200 a month, like making more than a car payment just to live, because diabetics need to rely on insulin for the rest of your life. And I know this because I'm diabetic and I rely on insulin for the rest of my life, or until there's some magical medical cure, which is not unheard of. It's not like it's impossible, but it's not something I'm going to hold my breath on. And so instead, I manage on my own, injecting insulin on my own. But you know, there's people out there that are actually dying because they can't get insulin. This is supposed to be the #1 country in the world. And I'm in California, which is why I'm doing so well with my transgender medicine. Because here, even though there's more taxes, where do you think those taxes go? It goes into protecting the community. And that includes medical care, which is like it should be a human right, right? Like, we have the capability to make this medicine at like pennies or whatever, and then they sell it for like hundreds of dollars. That's not correct. That should not exist. That is way above what is appropriate for a human species. That if we want to survive, if we don't want to survive, then go right ahead. But I mean, if you want to survive as a species, you're gonna have to adapt. And that means we need to stop fucking killing trans people by taking away their medication and taking away their treatments, taking away their surgeries, and only giving it to people who can afford it, which is what here in California now, I'm in poverty, so that means that I actually get medical treatment. And it's changed my life so much for the better. Like, my life has improved so fucking much. You have no fucking idea how bad it was. And maybe you do, but you know, maybe if you've experienced it yourself, or if you knew me before, or if you know, you were part of my stream on Twitch in 2019 when I was male presenting. Okay, the cutscene, or no. Minister of the Oristary is in the laboratory beneath here. To get there, you should check the walls very carefully. Okay? Oh yeah, there's a hidden wall. That's what I forgot. That's what I forgot. Let me rest to full HP first. There might be undead. Yeah, they also tax evade. Yeah, it's fucked up. The rich don't want to pay. Yeah, they tax evade, and they should be paying the taxes. If you're making that much money, you have way more than anybody in this country needs to actually have a good life. Like, they have more than a good life. They could actually give good lives to their family and their family's family and their family's family. Like these people have so much money, they can, like, even with paying like the taxes, like, they have so much more money than anybody could possibly spend in a lifetime on like their life, right? So it's like, why are the poorest people paying the most money? Like, it impacts somebody who only earns like 30K a year. Paying taxes, like paying 10K, means you only make 20K a year. But if you make $1 million a year, you're gonna probably pay like maybe 300K in taxes or something like that. Or maybe you're gonna be left with like 650K or something like that after taxes. So the fuck what? You still have $650,000. Like, this other person is living with $20,000. I'm living with like $7,000 a year. Okay, do you understand? Like, do you understand how, like, you should not complain about taxes if you make more than fucking 30K a year? Like, I mean, if you make more than 300K a year, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, people who make 300K a year have no fucking right to complain about taxes, ever. They should just pay it and move on with their life, because that's what they do. They have, like, basketball courts and tennis courts, and they have multiple cars, and they have, like, a giant fucking mansion, and they have, like, multiple stock options, and they got bonds, and they got savings accounts, and they got connections with people. Even if they lost all their money and they had $0, they'd be back up and running before, like, just in time for supper. Just in time for supper. Back when college was cheaper and you could pay just a part-time job. Yeah, exactly. Now the same people doing that time have gotten older and want this generation to pay thousands. And yeah, it's like they want us to, like, work 100 times harder than they did. They're like, oh, we went to college by going to school, and they refuse to even accept reality too. That's the problem. It's the delusion. They just say, oh, we're making that up. You have no idea what it was like. You didn't grow up in the 60s. It was tough. And it's like, okay, but do you understand the difference between if you work at Burger King part-time, you can't fucking pay your fucking cell phone bill? like Jesus fucking Christ, are you expecting someone to get a fucking mortgage? And have kids? Like, literally, like, working at Burger King and you're having kids? Which is what actually a lot of people do, because they don't have any option. Because it's either, like, accept that you're never going to have kids, like I did, or have kids regardless of the situation and just push through it and do your best, because that's what somebody who wants to be a good parent does. And they, even if it fails, which most of the time they stay in poverty, and it's a chain of poverty. Every time they have kids, it gets worse. Because now you're in poverty, and now you have a child to raise, and that child demands expensive amounts of cash flow to take care of until they're 18, at least, if not older, these days. And so it's like demanding that of somebody who can barely take care of themselves, who's living paycheck to paycheck, if that. Some people, they have to rely on living with a parent or living with other people, like in a very uncomfortable like less privacy. Like, you don't have your own place, right? Like, not having your own place really, like, dampens your fucking whole life. Imagine not having privacy to do, like, secret things that feel good, like masturbation or something like that. Like, things that you do in private. Like, imagine not being able to do that. Like, because you live with, like, 5 different people in the same room or something. Like, because you're in, like, you're like, otherwise you'd be homeless out in the street, and you definitely wouldn't be able to do that. Or you go to jail. Like, so it's like, people don't fucking understand the reality that people from my generation and younger have to fucking live in. And it's fucking abusive, and it needs to fucking stop, and the law needs to adjust to the reality that we live in. Especially with transgender medicine, because it's literally killing people, especially people who are minors. If you care about children, then why don't you care about the, like, giant amount of children who are like, I can't do this. This is too difficult. This is too fucking difficult, with all these fucking right-wing people demanding that I don't get that they don't get access. I mean, it's the children. I do, because I'm over 18, but they don't, because they're children. They have absolutely no control over their lives. Their parents are like, oh, we can't move to California because we can't afford it. And so you have to stay in fucking some state or some country where you don't have access to life-saving healthcare. And then you're forced to go through a permanent puberty that people like me can attest to is living hell if you're transgender. So forcing a child to go through living hell is not abusive, but allowing them to have a happy life where they're smiling and they're having friendships and they're doing whatever kids do, getting into trouble, all that kind of bullshit. Just the only difference is they take estrogen, or they take puberty blockers until they take estrogen. Because they don't want to go through a permanent puberty that they're going to be spending their entire life feeling extreme pain about. Do you understand that there's certain things that no amount of surgery will ever change? Do you understand? So, like, forcing a child to go through that is not abusive to these people. They think that, oh, let kids be kids, and then you're forcing the kids not to be kids. You're forcing them to get political. You're forcing them to go talk in front of the Senate of the fucking state representing the United States of America? You're forcing 10-year-olds to do that so that she can have access to puberty blockers or other, like, gender-affirming healthcare and social treatment? Making it like a crime, basically, to allow your child to even present as their gender in school? That's abusive, and they're trying to say, oh, let kids be kids, they're not old enough. And then you're forcing them through torture. You're actually torture. It's actual torture. For a trans kid who knows that they're trans, and they know that they need to get on puberty blockers, and you're going to deny that to them, and you're actually going to arrest and imprison people who even give them health care? That sounds pretty fucking fascist to me, and fucking very overstepping of the government, and it sounds like Nazi Germany. If you're gonna be fucking real, you basically want to round up all the trans people and just murder us, which is also what the Nazis wanted, by the way, including the Jewish people, and they also did that with gay people. They had gay people, and they had Jewish people wear the stars, and they had gay people wear something else. And then they had, and I think it was a purple triangle or something for gay people, and then they reclaimed it, I guess, later in the 60s or something like that. And then there was trans people who were very underrepresented, and there was very early transgender medicine at the time. But there was transgender medicine at the time, and people were able to transition at the time. There were health clinics. There were health clinics in Nazi Germany, before it was Nazi Germany. There were health clinics for transgender medicine. And, there was a research center, like a clinic. And the clinic got ransacked by Nazis. And they burned all the research. They removed permanently all the research that was done on transgender medicine. And this was in 1930-something. 1936? 1933? I don't know. It was in Nazi Germany. It was in pre-Nazi Germany. And so it's like, it was really fucked up that people are acting like that about us now, still in 2023. Almost 100 years from when the Nazi Germany did it. Almost 100 years. If you really think about it, it's like maybe 90 years since Nazi Germany was persecuting people. Jewish people, trans people, gay people. Anybody with mental illness, like autistic people. But mostly Jewish people. Let's be 100% sensitive to history. But trans people were involved. I mean, we are a minority, so that's why compared to the population, it's going to be much less of us, obviously. Nobody's going to diminish the Holocaust. But at the same time, it's like, why do people not see the 2 and 2 together? Like, how can they not see that the way they're behaving about trans people is the exact same thing that was in the newspapers back then leading up to Nazi Germany? Do you not understand? Like, if you look through history, it's public information, public knowledge, actually. Documented in newspapers. Of the same exact rhetoric that's going around right now. Oh, we need to think about the children. Are we influencing them? Are we making them trans? Or is it child abuse to allow a trans child to go to school and say that their pronouns are different than they were assigned? Like, that same kind of stuff was going on in the fucking 30s leading up to Nazi Germany. And it's public knowledge. Anyway, everyone else says the same thing, brother. Brother. What Toru do they know? Apururu. Oh yeah, and also, the way somebody dresses or behaves, suddenly that's tied to your sexuality. Like, dude, like a macho guy who does sports and is like a total jock could be gay. And just like that, a guy who does dance and who does like musical theater and stuff like that could totally be straight. And it's just so fucking weird how society lumps those things together. Like, why do you associate what the way somebody's dressing, or like what jewelry they're wearing? Or, you know, another thing is especially like religious attire, like hijabs, or like other things like that. Or like in Star Trek universe, they had the Bajorans who wear the earrings. Like, that's religious attire. What, you know, that's seen somehow differently from like this Western white Christian belief of the world. And there's also Catholic style beliefs too. Like Catholic belief, like this Western white view of the world, that Jesus is some shining light and anything that's dark is dirty or nasty. Like, and that there's this inherent racism against black people because they say darkness as some kind of evil. They associate darkness with evil. They say, oh, it's darkness, come into the light. Like, well, you can't have shadow without the light. But it's not even about shadow as far as like evil goes, because there's things that are just clearly morally wrong. Murdering someone, for example. Then they're like, oh, we're murdering children every time we do abortion. It's like, what about, you're basically murdering the host of the child also. Because you're like, what if that person is living in poverty and doesn't want a child and can't have a child, or would be forced to live an entire life of extreme poverty on the streets, and then the child would have to go up to adoption and shit like that, or like whatever the fuck is going on with whatever's going on with that. And so it's like really fucked up how fucking controlling these people are, and I think they're slowly becoming irrelevant. You need to understand this. They're a minority. There's a lot more people, even within the Republican Party. There was a poll done, and there's like 60% of Republican parties are completely fine with transgender people. It's just kind of frustrating when people try to lead those people into being more extreme. Like when people try to make those people like start arguing against like allowing children to get puberty blockers at the appropriate medically approved age. Because everything has to be medically approved already. I don't know why people are shouting for that, and then they're making it a crime to even assess that. So you're making it a crime to even assess if somebody is transgender, but then you say, oh, it's okay to be transgender. But then it's okay. Well, you're making it a crime for a doctor to even administer medically approved guidelines for medical treatments for transgender people. You're basically saying a transgender person can't get their insulin. And I hate how people say that the insulin argument is terrible, because someone told me that once. I'm like, what are you talking about? A diabetic needs insulin to live. A trans woman needs estrogen to live. Are you fucking kidding me? And if a trans woman needs a vagina, she fucking needs a vagina to live. And I'm going to tell you that with 100 bazillion %. 100 Googleplex to the 100 Googleplex power %. Going to tell you that if a trans woman needs a vagina, she needs a fucking vagina right fucking now. Okay, so like I don't know where this fucking conversation started when it goes against the reality of the situation. And that's what this anti-trans rhetoric on the right continues to go through. And I think it's also like, I know like people like Devin Nash, I really respect him, and he's not like one of those people that's like super like rude or whatever about it, but like he does have something that I'm like kind of like, you know, I don't really think that you're 100% correct on this one, which is that he says like, oh, he doesn't like to make it political. He doesn't like to think about left or right. He likes to think only about the marketing aspect. But the thing is, you can't think about marketing without people. And you can't think about people without understanding what political parties actually fight for. What does the Republican stand for? What does a Republican stand for versus what does a Democrat stand for? And actually looking not at what the Republicans and not what the Democrats say, but what they actually do when they're in power, when they're in government. And if you look at the history of Republican, it is discriminatory against trans peoples. More than anything in history, the Trump administration had the most transphobic laws put into place than literally any other presidency. And that's true. I mean, obviously, we all know about Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump's like the worst president in history, period. But if you look at that, like the Republican Party historically, and also like we're not even going to look. I mean, obviously, Obama, like I think there was some transphobic stuff going on there too. But like, you know, you can't really help that. You know, this is Senate with Republicans and Democrats. well, you know, what are you going to do about certain things? But these people are fighting for peoples whose values are that being transgender is wrong and that transgender people shouldn't exist because they think that it's an illness. They think that transgender people should be forced to not be trans. They think transgender people should be like erased from the world. And these people are going to vote for people who are going to be in power, who are going to do that. And so that's why it feels like a act of violence if somebody claims to care about transgender people and then goes and votes Republican. And I know it's really hard for someone to understand, but you have to understand the reality of the situation. You don't know enough. You don't know the whole picture. I do. I'm forced to because I have to live through a world that is targeting me. Do you understand? So most people will not have to go through the daily situations that most trans people will have to go through. I only experience it on the internet, fortunately. A lot of people only experience it in real life, and then they go on the internet and they use it anonymously. And they form communities that, in my opinion, are extremely toxic and are always trying to cancel people and regulate like what people do for comedy and all that kind of, like, dude, if somebody wants to do something for comedy, that's not even about like whether or not like it's like offensive or not. It's about like, hey, like, dude, it's not funny to just make fun of autistic people for no reason. And you can make fun of a person because of like something they say or do. But if it's like, you know, maybe some things are a little bit not as apparent. Like, hey, that very specific thing bothers me. Like if somebody makes a joke about like abortion, but then like, you know, you're making that joke right in front of like, you know, like what about the people who've gone through abortions? Like what if you make that joke to someone who has had an abortion and has had to go through that emotional experience? And it's like, why would you make a joke like that? Like, why would you go out of your way to hurt someone? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But some people are just that insensitive. It's not that they're like going out of their way to do it. Sometimes they do, but it's that they're so unwilling to even put any amount of energy into learning about someone besides themselves that they won't even fathom that the things that transgender people are constantly marching and protesting about are actually true. And that there's a reason why we're angry and upset and also have like a very large suicide rate. Don't you think there might be a reason? Instead of the one that you like with your armchair intelligence, just sitting there on your computer looking at Facebook, seeing a meme, and then suddenly acting like you know everything about what it means to go through transgender medicine. You're gonna comment on some thread saying, "Oh yeah, it's really fucking up. They're turning children into science experiments," and like, dude, you know fucking nothing, exactly nothing about transgender medicine. If you say something like that, that tells me that you are not somebody I want in my life. That you are fucking stupid. You need to fucking get your shit together. And as long as you're unwilling to fucking even do even like 5 seconds of Googling about like why somebody is angry at you for saying something about trans people, instead of immediately getting defensive and saying, "Oh, I was just saying," I always say dude to people. It's gender neutral. And I understand why people say that. That's a lighter thing. That's not as bad as like what other people do. I'm just using this as an example to illustrate the concept. But let's say, for example, someone gets extremely defensive about a transgender person saying, "Hey, like, can you not say dude to me? Like, I don't like it." Like, if anybody said that, but like, you know, if like someone said, "Hey, look, I'm not your bro." Like if somebody talks to you like a surfer and they're like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And you're like, "I would appreciate if you don't call me that." Like, it doesn't even matter if you're transgender or not, right? Like, so if someone says, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And you're like, "Hey, like, can you like not call me that, please?" Like, and then you're like, "Hey, I say that to everyone. What's your problem? Why are you making me do that? Why are you trying to? It's like, dude, like you're making it about you. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, come on. Like, it also doesn't mean like obviously you can't go back in time and change what happened. Doesn't make you a terrible person for what you did. In fact, everybody knows that. In fact, you're probably, if you're thinking that about yourself, it's probably because only you can see it. Really, most likely only you can see it because it's something that's already on your mind. And when it comes to me, I'm in charge of myself. Nobody's in charge of me except for, like, you know, obviously you have to obey the law. And you have to also ask yourself, why would you want to do something against the law? You appreciate Native American culture that are mainly matriarchies. I mean, the thing is like, it's not about making like a patriarchy or a matriarchy, making it like a battle of the sexes kind of thing. That's not what it's about. Because matriarchies are equally vulnerable to the problems that patriarchies are. Like, that's not what feminism is about. Feminism is about lifting up women past the ceiling that patriarchy has caused. It's not about being angry at men. It's not about, like, hating men or eliminating men's privileges. It's not about reversing roles. It's about lifting women up. Do you understand? Like, that's what feminism is about. And when people like J.K. Rowling start their so-called feminist movement against, saying that trans women aren't really women because they say, oh, womb men. Trying to say that trans women are erasing women. Bitch, I am a woman and you're erasing me with your fucking bullshit. Like, how is that? I am a woman and you're tearing me down? Isn't feminism about, like, you're letting men define your womanhood? You're letting the fact that, like, J.K. Rowling specifically, she'll talk about how, like, oh, if you haven't gone through domestic abuse, you don't belong to call yourself a woman. It's like, well, what about all the women out there who never went through a domestic abuse situation? I know it's hard for people who've gone through abuse to believe, because I've gone through some level of abuse with my life. I'm not going to get into here. But, like, seriously. And then the fact that you have a womb, which means that you have the ability to get pregnant, you're going to let the fact that you can let a man impregnate you, you're going to let that define your womanhood? How is that feminism? How is that lifting women up? That's just like tearing women down, first of all, because it's trans women and being torn down. But it's also like saying that men get to define your womanhood? How come these are too low level now. I've out-leveled this, I believe. So we need to go somewhere else. I finished the mission, so let's go back and turn in the mission. You know what I mean, man? It's just an honest view of what men are capable of. Yeah, exactly. It's easier for me to trust women than it is to trust men, and that's just a fact. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say that, like, oh, I see men and women equally. That's not how the world works. The world works in biases, and that's why being transgender is no different. But it also doesn't mean that you fucking treat us like we're fucking goblin, ugly-ass fucking creatures that you would never want to fucking have in your life. You can say, oh yeah, hashtag trans rights, and then throw us to the trash, and never invite us to parties, never date us, except you jack off to us constantly because we see the numbers on Pornhub, right? Go to the Pornhub transgender category. Look at the views on the videos. There's obviously going to be like a lot less, but at the same time, there's plenty of people fucking jacking off to transgender women. So how come you're secretly jacking off to us, but then you're like in public, you're like, ew, like that's gross, like that's some creature, that's some goblin. It's like, you don't fucking care about us, you just fucking want to jack off to us. You want to treat us like a fucking porn, like a fucking hentai. You don't fucking love trans people. You don't support trans rights, especially if you support conservative people. There's conservative people who some people are kind of more neutral, and I can understand why they're coming like, and it depends on the person. I'm not gonna lie. You can't treat everybody equally. You have to treat everybody equitably, and I think equity is different than equality. Equality, because if you treat everyone equal, that's not equal. If I treat like a millionaire the same way I treat a homeless person, most people will never do that. If a millionaire is dressed as a homeless person, most people are going to assume that's a homeless person. They're not going to assume it's a millionaire. And those whole like, oh, if you give money to a homeless person, we give you $1 million kind of thing, or whatever they do for YouTube, they do that. Yeah, life doesn't really get easier when you transition. I don't know the experience of a trans man, like you said. Thought their life was going to be easier. Yeah, they don't, yeah, like people don't see you as a real woman or they don't see you as a real man. But here's the thing, enough time, and especially if you assert your life, and especially if you make sure that people, I don't know, for me, I just present as female in every way I can, and I'm getting surgeries to further that. And it's because like I'm gonna have a vagina. It's gonna. I know that it's like I'm not getting a vagina for anyone else, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna make things so much easier to live my life with a vagina and with my facial feminization than it will without. And I would rather be happy than be miserable. I wouldn't say I'd be miserable, but honestly, like people are going to like look at my face and my Adam's apple, and they're gonna see my penis, and they're gonna see me as a man. They're not going to see me as a woman, and they're going to be more likely to be transphobic. Even if they're not, like, supposedly not, like, outwardly transphobic, they're going to see me inwardly differently. But, I mean, you have to get over that fear. It's a sad reality we have to accept, but as time goes on, it gets easier, trust me. Especially once hormones do their job. Especially with trans men, you guys are going to get, especially if you work out. If you work out, and especially if you fucking get fucking nice hairstyles that are like very manly, and especially if you fucking grow a fucking beard and chest hair. I don't know about chest hair, but if you grow a fucking beard, obviously not every guy has the genetics for hair. Like Asian guys don't usually have as much kind of body hair and stuff, like they don't have body hair, but like, you know, I don't know, it depends on the person. Like go with you, find your own masculinity. Just like I have to find my own femininity. So that's kind of the thing about it, Joji Bunny. Like being transgender is really about like trying to find who you are. It's not about trying to be a woman. It's not about trying to be a man. It's about being the man or woman who you are. And that's no different than cisgender people if I think so. Like if I'm gonna think that like there's a reality about like what trans people go through and what cisgender people go through, and if it's just exactly the same thing, and the only thing that's different is our cultural understanding of it, I think that actually might be a large part of it, is that we generally see transgender people as some kind of other. And until that changes, I don't think there's really going to be any like real progress in trans rights. Which means we have to accept that there's going to be bad apples. There's also going to be people who are like going to want to kill us. There's going to be people who will never accept us no matter how many surgeries we get. No matter how presenting as our gender we get, there's going to be people who would never accept us. And we have to accept that that exists. And it doesn't mean our life have to be miserable. It just means that we have to accept it. Until you accept it, you can never really move past that. Oh, Crimson's here. I mean, I'm not the person to talk to you about accepting, like, the way men behave. So, I mean, this is actually kind of interesting. Because, like, it's more difficult passing as a man socially because men are put to more higher expectations. I mean, women say that, too. They have to be masculine and be financially stable. I mean, that's the same as... I mean, it's a different outlet, right? It's a different direction, right? They have to be masculine and be financially stable. Well, what about like people expecting women to be like super thin and wear makeup, or people's expectation of them to be married and have children, or their expectation to not be overweight, like, you know, like I said, that thin, or like what race they are. Like if somebody's black, or if somebody's Asian, or any other kind of culture, somebody might not be attracted to those people and it might be seen as racist. I think it is inherently, I don't know, I think it's just people need to adjust their biases. They need to kind of look at them a little bit and see like, hey, is there a reason why I feel so disgusted by this thing? There might be. Like, obviously I'm disgusted by murderers. There's a reason why if somebody commits a murder, like actually murdering another human being, like an actual, like, not like a fetus, okay? I know these people call it murder. Abortion is not murder. Abortion is ejection of a fetus. And I know that you want to see it as some kind of life form, but let's look at reality here. If you're gonna be in a room where you can save fertilized egg, which you say life begins at conception. A fertilized egg, if there's a bunch of petri dishes of fertilized eggs, and in the other room you can save people from who are like about to fall down an elevator and die, you're gonna go get the people who are about to fucking die. Okay? And obviously if there's a pregnant woman in there, you might want to save her first. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Obviously, so there are obviously different levels of ways we see things, right? Right? Like, obviously, if there's a bunch of people and, you know, they say save women and children first, right? If you save the children, well, if you don't have anybody who can take care of the children, like, the adults are going to be more likely to let the group survive. I know it's a very cold way of thinking, but you're going to save women and children first. That's usually kind of an old-fashioned kind of statement. But I think what the sentiment really, you know, obviously maybe not in specific implementation, but in the sentiment that it has, is that, like, women and children, like, are kind of more valuable to society. If you want to look at it from a cold, like, statistical standpoint, children have a lot more potential to contribute to society. Women also are contributors to society in a similar way men are, but also in addition to that can give birth to other humans. And then and I don't know, it's like that ability. I mean, not all women, obviously. 1 in 5 women can't get pregnant, and also 1 in 5 men can't get women pregnant. So there's that. I think I need to go back to Gideus now. Oh god. I don't have my warp. Maybe I should go back to town, I don't know. No, I should just kill the Mandragora and stuff out here. That's probably what I should do. I got plenty of inventory space. I just need to kill stuff and get XP. If I do the tutorial quest, I get another XP band, apparently. Yeah, I mean, that is true. Like, you have to get married and be taken care of by some man, because women can't possibly take care of themselves, right? Like, that's basically what it is. Okay, we need to get sneak attack. Yeah, of course, there's no secret sneak attack. Like, I'm almost like, in this server, did they lower the level of sneak attack? No, it's gonna be level 15, so I pretty much have to solo to level 15. Not really gonna be good in a party until I have sneak attack. But it's okay, I get to farm a lot and make some gil, and I get better gear. So if I can farm a bunch, like out here, sell the stuff and do quests, really, because it gives me fame. I can just turn in the items to quests. I need to look up every item that I'm farming that I like end up getting in abundance. Like, if I see like 4 stacks of something, I'm gonna look it up and see if I can use them in any quest. And I'm gonna turn in every single item into every single quest that I can, because I'm gonna make gil that way and I get fame. Obviously, if it makes like way more gil to put it on the auction house, I'll just put them up. Like beehive chips, for example. I don't know if those are used in a quest, but maybe this white mage wants to team up. Yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying Final Fantasy 14. Like you're just walking around in circles. That's mostly what the game is. Just take your time, enjoy the game at your own pace. Don't let anybody rush you. Just kind of chill and just kind of treat it as like a second world that you can live in. Don't get too attached. Don't let it take over your life. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like, especially Final Fantasy 11. Like Final Fantasy 11 can completely take over your life. You really got to treat it like a screensaver, like a desktop background, or like you got to treat it like not really so much like that. It's got to be more like just like a chat room. Just treat it like an interactive chat room where you have a game to play while you're chatting. That's kind of what this game is. Final Fantasy 14's more involved. It's more like a single player game, more action oriented. This one's more like an interactive chat room. And it's a different style MMO for a different type of player. And so not everybody's going to enjoy it. In fact, most people won't. Most people would prefer Final Fantasy 14. It's more streamlined. It's more colorful, has more sound effects, has more... The storyline's a lot more accessible. It's a lot... You can solo the whole storyline. I mean, I don't know. You can solo like a lot of the storyline, I guess. And there's a lot of storyline without having to just grind XP like I'm doing here. So it's more about the single player game than it is about the... Like this game is more about the multiplayer game than it is about the single player. Like the storyline requires teamwork in a lot of instances, especially later levels. As you get later level, you're going to require to work with people, like team up in parties or alliances even, and defeat bosses and like stuff like that. It's going to require teamwork. It's very multiplayer oriented, and I believe Final Fantasy 14 at some point is also that. But it's more of a single player, like queue up to play kind of Fortnite thing, is what it feels like. Like you're sitting in a lobby and you're at the freaking casino at the Gold Saucer or whatever, and you're just sitting there doing mini games. You're just sitting there doing like chocobo races, or you're just sitting there doing I don't know, like some dungeon raid or whatever. And you're just queuing up with people. You're kind of soloing and just queuing up with people. Whereas this game, you kind of have to make a plan and strategize, and you have to go out and like say, like there's so many. It's an open world. It's more like Zelda and less like Final Fantasy. I know it's like kind of like, even though this is a Final Fantasy game, it's kind of more like an open world action adventure. It's not really like traditional Final Fantasy where you have like a storyline and like a map that you get random battles in. You do get aggro, which is kind of like a random battle. Oops, I was going the wrong way, wasn't I? No, I was gonna farm around here. Around the entrance? Oh, go to Tarongi. Let's go to Tarongi entrance. There's more stuff up here, I believe. Servant Star. Oh, what about the Pugils? Yeah, I can kill the Pugils too. I think the Pugil scales are used in a quest, but we'll check that later on. Right now, we have to really just focus on playing the game. We don't really need to focus on the meta right now. The meta right now would be looking at the auction house prices, looking at quest items. We need to collect the items first and then sort it out later, when we're in the Mog House or just hanging out in town or whatever. When we have time to like do some research, we're gonna do that later. So right now, I'm just kind of grinding some stuff, then I'm gonna end the stream. And then next stream, we're gonna do that stuff that I said that we're gonna do later. We're gonna do like auction house stuff, quests. But right now, I'm just trying to get some XP and just collecting items. I'm not particularly focused on getting all the quests and stuff done right now. It's like running around, and I want to get the XP because I want to get Treasure Hunter as soon as possible, and Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack and Treasure Hunter as soon as possible. And also I have my 3-hour food on. Yeah, and this was This is what gives me a lot. I don't know if this person was like just trying to cheer me up or whatever, but earlier we had a viewer said, I just watched the VOD of you playing Final Fantasy 11. I decided to get the game myself. And so I just got someone to buy the game on Steam. So I think I have potential as a streamer. But I don't know about it. I mean, that's one person. But I mean, I'm glad to hear it. Like, I'm glad I got someone interested in the game. And then, of course, they should go to HorizonXI.com for all their Final Fantasy 11 needs. Absolutely no real money services. Absolutely no trading real money for in-game services or gil. Absolute permaban. It's not only is it against the rules, I personally think it's abominable to do real money training, especially the people who sell the gil. People who buy the gil, sometimes they might just be like really fucking desperate. Like when we were like fucking in high school and shit, playing this game, like stole our brother's like 16, like whatever. Let's talk about something else. How about river crabs? Do you think the river crabs go to a rave and dance to crab rave when nobody's looking? Like nobody has to be around to watch them. Do you think that like GMs and the devs come in here and take control of the river crabs and have them synchronize to do crab rave dance? Dun 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 dun, dun. Well, until somebody runs by, then they immediately have a command that completely like makes them all invisible. For all you know, that could be happening right now. Yeah, the thing is like they fixed the thing where apparently, I mean, somebody said this. Apparently, they fixed the thing about Thief, where sneak attack can actually work with multiple elements, weapon skills. So it opens up a whole bunch of different weapon skills, so you can do different skill chains. That opens a lot for Thief in a group, because it means you can make a skill chain no matter who you're skill chaining with. Like no matter who you're skill chaining with, like what weapon they're using, no matter what weapon skill they're using. If you can get the right element that your party needs, you can still use it with sneak attack. You don't have to wait till Viper Bite, which is like level 33. And that's the only, like, you use like sword or hand to hand. I think hand to hand is better if you sub monk than dagger with than sword with no sub. Obviously sword with no sub job, but apparently in this server dagger is actually way better. And I decided to get a blind knife. It also gives blindness, and it seems to be proccing like a good amount. So I'm actually kind of enjoying the experience so far. It kind of just feels nice grinding XP. Like it kind of just feels nice. Like so far I'm actually really having a good time. I'm kind of eased into it now. Now that it's been like a couple days, I'm kind of more settled into the server than I was. I'm feeling a lot more positive about the future of my playing on this server than when I was playing on Wings and I was like, oh, which one am I going to play on? Now I don't really care particularly, although I still think Wings is good to have, and I can just do that like solo and duo stuff. Like it's good to have an alternate character on a different server, so playing on Wings is like a different place, and it has different stuff, and I'm doing different stuff in that game. So it's like if I want to do the jobs that I'm doing, like if I want to play my white mage and I'm trying to get white mage to 75, like I'm trying to get samurai to 75. Like if I would rather like, hey, I feel like playing a mage today instead of like playing what I normally play, like thief 75. Like when I get to thief 75 on here, I'm not gonna have the same kind of stuff that I can do that I would on Wings. And so it's good to have the backup. So I'm like, you know what? Let's work on that for a while on the other server. And then I kind of press pause and I go to the other server to play. Especially like during stuff like maintenance or stuff. Although most of the time it's maintenance, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like turn off my computer and just like rest my eyes from the computer. to like make use of the fact that like there's gonna be time before I can play the game, or I do something else, like I play on the other server. And everybody who played before they did the update of the auto sort has like a habit of sorting every single time they open the, because like, you used to have to always open the items and sort every single time you got a drop. It did not make any sense, so it was really good when they added the update that auto sorts. You still have to check how much inventory you have because you can lose track of it. So it's a double-edged sword, because you might lose track of how many items you have, and you might be killing monsters and like not getting the items because they just drop to the void, to the floor. Okay. Where are we going? Oh yeah, I forgot there's a big... Oh yeah, we looked at my map. There's a big... We can't go above this. So we're just gonna kill the stuff around here. They're all like level 3 to level 6. I could have done sneak attack if I was level 15 right there. Okay, so as long as it's at least level 3, I get XP. I mean, as long as it's easy prey or above, really. But that's 9 levels below me. So 9 levels below me is the lowest level, I think, to get XP. If you're level 75, then level 66 is the lowest level that'll give you XP. So anything level 65 or below is gonna ruin the XP. So you don't want to... You need a level sync. I mean, you should level sync anyway. I mean, unless you want to kill something faster, you're not trying to get XP. Like if you're trying to farm, make gil, you want to kill as fast as possible. But if you want to make XP, you want to be the right level and be in the right camp. If you want to get XP, you want to just be able to kill it as fast as possible, as much as possible. To make gil. Looks like my dagger is almost the same level as my sword. Check that out. That's awesome. Hey, we gotta rest. Okay, enough of that. Enough Donald Duck! Enough Donald Duck! Okay? Cringe! Hell yeah, that's what we're about here, Joji. You know it. We're all about that. We're all about that. Let's go cringe it up, baby. Ah, someone's on a chocobo! Ran over me! Sansa! From Game of Thrones, I guess. Sansa? Oh shit, watch out for the Yagata though. Pull it away. Oh, I need to get a crossbow. I also need to level my crossbow for sure. I can get like acid bolts. I can get bloody bolts. And I can macro between those to get HP back, and I can solo way better on Thief. It's like I have a healer with me a little bit, and it does damage, so it does extra damage too. When you have, if you sub Dancer, which you don't have in this server, if you sub Dancer, and that's another reason to play Wings. Like I said, if I want to play Wings, if I want to play Dancer or Scholar stuff, it's going to be very different there than it is here. Although eventually this server is going to be similar to that, I think. And probably better, I think. I don't know, in the long run, I think the server is going to be better. Right now, it's still really buggy, but you got to kill those bugs, like I'm killing this bug right now, right? I'm literally killing a bug, this giant bee. And so now I'm gonna kill a fucking beast man. But I mean, I'm killing bugs in the game. I think the devs are probably collecting all the server data across the entire server, as 4,000 plus people are testing out the server, and the devs are looking at the data, and they like adjust the server to match the reality. Oh no. I have like this peach color hair. It's kind of cute with the pigtails. That one's too weak. It won't aggro if it's too weak. Remember that. Oh no, am I gonna die? Perfect dodge. We got a weapon skillet. Come on. Alright, we survived. We had a 2-hour. Guys, I think I need to log off. So I think it's time to end the stream. Thank you for stopping by. I got everything working and we'll get back later tonight in the evening. Like late afternoon or later evening. But I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more, if you want to see when I go live next, give me a like and a subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can see it in your notification window. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you all. You guys are gonna be in for a treat if you stick around my stream long enough. If you stick around, we're gonna go through a lot of memories together. We're gonna go through a lot of adventures. There's gonna be a lot of Final Fantasy XI adventures. Especially if you want to play yourself, you're welcome to get the game. And make sure to go to HorizonXI.com and you'll get all the information you need to play the game. Alright, later, bye!